have completed their obligations and nobody has any concerns or problems that would stand in the way of an on-time launch at 10:50 this morning. Just 4 seconds from coming out of this hold. 2, 1. We're now at T-minus 8 minutes, 59 seconds, and counting.
Sequence has been initiated. FCO into the count check here to ground 1.
The ground launch sequencer has now been activated and the STS-55 terminal countdown is underway.
FCO on air to ground 1.
All of the countdown events are now being handled by the ground launch sequencer up until the T-minus 31 second mark, when responsibility for the countdown is handed over to Columbia's onboard computers. T-minus 8 minutes, 22 seconds, and counting.
MTG FCO. Yeah, contact air to ground 1, heavy rate. And you're loud clear. Okay, stay with us on air to ground 1, please. TLTOTC. Configure fuel cell essential bus source switches. Copy.
We're at T-minus 7 minutes, 34 seconds and counting. At T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds, the ground launch sequencer will initiate retraction of the orbiter crew access arm. And that is now in work. This access bridge can be positioned right back to Columbia within about 15 seconds, should the need arise.
TLS entity. TLS go. Yeah, you copy. We will not hold at 5. We copy.
T-minus 7 minutes and counting. NASA Test Director Al Sopchi informing the ground launch sequencer console operator that we will not be holding at T-minus 5, so we remain on schedule for launch at 10:50 this morning. T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting.
KLPS, start APU and hydraulic strip chart recorder. Hydraulic and APU strip chart started. And PLT-OTC, perform APU pre-start. APU pre-starts at work.
Orbiter Test Conductor Mike Key has just given pilot Tom Henricks an OK to begin the auxiliary power unit pre-start procedure. Henricks is now setting the switches in the cockpit to put the auxiliary power units in the pre-start configuration. Auxiliary power unit start comes in.
DLT 3 go top back. Copy.
Pilot Tom Henricks reporting that the auxiliary power units look good. The systems will be activated in 30 seconds at T-minus 5 minutes. These auxiliary power units provide the power to the hydraulic pumps, which control critical tasks like the movement of orbiter elevons, the rudders, the speed brake, the landing gear, and the main engine thrust vector controllers. Mission Control has just transmitted a signal to start Columbia's onboard flight recorders.
Let's go for orbiter APU start. PLT OTC, perform APU start. APU starts and work.
Test.
And CDR reconfigure heaters. CD Roger and work.
Test Conductor Mike Key has given pilot Tom Henricks the go to start the auxiliary power units, and Henricks has flipped the proper switches. Commander Steve Nagel has reconfigured Columbia's heaters for launch. Just 4 minutes, 30 seconds away from liftoff of Columbia and the Spacelab D2 module.
APU starts complete. Copy that.
T-minus 4 minutes, 14 seconds. A final purge sequence of Columbia's main engines will begin. A test of Columbia's flight controls is now starting. The engines should be being gimbaled. Also during this time, the aero surfaces such as the rudder, elevons, and speed brake are being cycled through a programmed test pattern to verify that they are up and ready for launch. T-minus 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. Columbia's main engines are now positioned for launch, and pressurization of the external tank is underway. T-minus 3 minutes, 3 seconds, and counting. Momentarily, the retraction of the external tank's gaseous oxygen vent hood should begin.
Pressurization. PLT OTC, clear caution warning memory and verify no unexpected errors. Clearing the fault.
The gaseous oxygen vent hood is being retracted away from the external tank. And Orbiter Test Conductor Mike Key has requested Tom Henrik to clear the ship's caution and warning memory system. That task is reported complete with no anomalies. T-minus 2 minutes, 5 seconds, and counting.
And flight crew, OTC, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow and have a good flight. Good work, and thank you very much. Yeah, let's go for EP, LH2, pressurization.
The astronauts have closed their flight visors on their helmets in preparation for this morning's launch. Replenishment of liquid hydrogen to the external tank is also being terminated, and Columbia is disconnected from all ground fuel loading systems. T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds, and counting.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
T-minus 1 minute, 15 seconds, and counting. The ground launch sequencer is now verifying that Columbia's 3 main engines are ready for ignition. The heaters around the joints of the solid rocket boosters are being turned off. In another 15 seconds, we'll get the command for auto sequence start.
Yeah, let's go for auto sequence start.
We have a go for auto sequence start. The baton has been passed from the Launch Control Center computers, and Columbia is now in charge of its own launch countdown.
20.
T-minus 20 seconds. Columbia's vent doors are being moved and configured for flight. T-minus 15, coming up on a go for main engine start. 12, 11, 10, T-minus 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Solid rocket ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of Columbia on a voyage to the future.
Roll program.
Ready to roll, Columbia.
Houston is now controlling. The roll maneuver underway and complete. Columbia is in a heads-down position on course for a 28.5-degree flight, 160 nautical mile orbit. Engines aboard Columbia now beginning to throttle down as the orbiter passes through the area of maximum pressure on the vehicle in the lower regions of the atmosphere. Columbia is now just 1 nautical mile downrange from the launch site at an altitude of 17,000 feet. Accelerating now through 680 miles per hour. Engines are now beginning to throttle back up.
Columbia, go at throttle up.
Go at throttle up.
All 3 engines are back at full throttle. Hydraulic systems and electrical systems performing well aboard Columbia. 4,000 feet, range from the launch site 8 nautical miles. Columbia is now traveling 1,700 miles per hour. The next event is burnout and separation of the twin solid rocket boosters. That comes at about 2 minutes and 4 seconds. SRB separation is confirmed. Columbia is now 29 miles from the launch site at an altitude of 173,000 feet, traveling 3,000 miles per hour.
Columbia, performance nominal.
Performance nominal.
Columbia, 2-engine Banjul.
2-engine Banjul.
Performance thus far in the mission has been as expected, and Columbia can reach Banjul, the TAL site, in the event of a single engine failure. However, all 3 engines are still performing at full throttle. 3 good hydraulic systems and electrical systems aboard Columbia. The orbiter is now 55 nautical miles downrange from the launch site at an altitude of 248,000 feet, traveling 3,400 miles per hour. Time now 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the flight. Flight controllers reporting all systems still performing well. Aboard Columbia, the orbiter is 112 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center at an altitude of 330,000 feet.
Columbia, negative return.
Negative return.
Columbia can no longer return to the Kennedy Space Center in the event of an engine failure.